What is up, everyone? Welcome to Mechs on Deck. Monday, March 16th. How you doing, Chewy?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Dude, I'm doing all right, man. It's been a stressful Monday, but we're almost done with it, you know.
We're moving through.
Yeah, you know, hey,
it's a tough time.
It's a tough time. You can't win them all. Things are a little bit crazy right now, but we'll get through it.
I know, man. Fucking cafes losing to 8,008.
Yeah, I mean, I must say I picked 8,008, so called it, but hey.
Boom. Well, welcome, Willio, Frisco Melt, Jeff Leopard, Pluto, Juana Bovial. Juan above all. Okay, there it is. Juan above all.
There you go. Zero cool. How you doing, my dude?
What's up, man? What's up, man? Starstone. It's because 8,008 is better than cafes. Sorry.
You just read the text to speech as it text to speeched.
Man, I can't hear shit.
Well, yeah.
How are we guys doing? We're gonna get into it today.
We are. Spicy takes. So we do have mail, but I think we're gonna save that to a little bit later in the stream. But first we're gonna be talking about keyboard.university, which I'm not sure how many people really are familiar with it.
Oh wow.
Holy crap.
Well, all right. 159. Thank you for the 10 subs.
Thank you for the 10 gifted.
SD 0 times 28, Mr. Teja, Jeremy, GH Beats, Kerberber, that's a great one. Poner, Plume Keyboards. Thank you guys for all. Welcome. Hope you guys enjoy the content. Yeah, we're going to get into it. Keyboard.university.
Yeah, dude.
This is a new thing.
It's brand new. It's literally just keyboard.university. So if you want to check it out with us while that didn't work. I don't know why it didn't work, but all right.
Yeah, I think I made a command for it. Nope, didn't work.
I think it's because it's a .university. I don't think it recognizes it as a actual thing. So Keyboard University, a little bit of the background of it first is it's kind of like a joint venture between the Key.company and a couple other people in the community, most notably the guy who just said, "Hey y'all" in chat. That would be Mr. Slee Keyboards himself, who we had on the stream a couple weeks ago. Also, Willio. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Just saw him this afternoon.
Did you really?
Yeah, man. He was come back.
Damn.
He was dropping off some important pieces to a future project.
Ooh.
So, spicy. Can't wait. That time of the month. Anyway, continue. Keyboard.university. Yeah,
so it's kind of like a joint venture between the Key.company and a couple other people in the community, and I imagine it will be expanding. It's so just on their front page, it's meant to be the first and last resource you'll ever need for mechanical keyboards, courses and content for newcomers and expert builders alike.
That time of the month.
How do you feel about that, Chewy? What do you think about that statement right there?
Maybe not the last, because there's always things to learn.
Yeah, absolutely.
But as the first place, I would definitely send people here. I had seen it. I guess it launched either last week or the week before. Hey, sorry, my dogs are a little on edge tonight. No, it was, it's laid out beautifully. It's very easy to, it's very user friendly. And it's definitely a great starting off point. Does it give you everything? Not right this sec, but you have to release and you have to get feedback and all that. I mean, you can't nail it. It's very difficult to nail them the first time.
So you just went full robot.
Full robot. All right. It's very difficult to nail things the first time. But all in all, super support this. Any information that can be given out to people, that's just more people. You know, we give out information, or the first like 20 episodes of Mechs on Deck um, is pretty much everything you might want to know. That's also a year old. Things change. So we can reach some people, and then they can reach some people, and other people can reach other people. That's all great
Yeah.
because it's not competition. It's just getting as much information to as cast the largest net possible.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have been wanting something along the lines of this for a long time. And I think we've had things that are like trying to do something like this before. The biggest thing with this is that it needs to be a living, breathing thing. It has to be updated. It has to be changed because things change. Like, you know, if you look at even like 2 or 3 years ago, the community and what was used and what was talked about, and just the overall knowledge, even like on a base level, is significantly different than what it is today. Um, you know, I was talking with Quakeums earlier today, and we were just talking about how it's so hard. Like it used to be easy to know about everything that was happening in the community because there were so few things. It's so hard to stay up to date on what's happening. Like it's so hard to really know what's going on, know what to look for. And I think a site like this, as it expands and as it grows, could be helpful for, you know, kind of getting your feet wet for those people who are new, and then learning about how to get into things, and just giving a great jumping off point, as well as a good resource for people who are more experienced that might need a little bit of a refresher on certain things.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, like you said, the community's ever changing. It's only a matter of time before the next tofu comes out, and then that's like the standard of like, oh, you want to get in the community and you don't mind getting a 60%. Boom. Like, what happens when an aluminum tofu comes out for $50 or even $60, just cheaper, or American made? And it's that it might not be, if it's American made, it might not be $50, $60. But what happens when stuff like that comes out? The NK65 is a great example of like, hey, these are things that can really change like the jumping off point of when you get in. And that's something that can change on a dime. We saw it happen with the tofu. And before that, I mean, there really wasn't like, here's the first thing you should get. And then a lot of people now recommend the tofu. When's the next thing going to happen? We're seeing stuff with like Infinity that could be a huge difference in this community of if those come out and they are even 80 to 90% as good as something like GMK. That's another huge change in this community that could just blow the doors wide open of how you want to go about starting in the keyboard world. So it is very, very difficult to keep up, and for someone who is new, going, you know, it was a little bit easier for myself and Osiris, who joined about 7 months before I did in this whole community, where when I started, it was just like, go by what someone else said because there's not a whole lot of information.
Yeah.
And you just kind of have to buddy up and hope to God that you do the right thing.
Yeah. Cause it's one of those things too. It's like, how many times, like, I know this doesn't have anything about it kind of touches into building and touches into like modifying switches and stuff. But like, how many people when they first started used that Input Club article about soldering? You know, how many people when they first were trying to lube used either Quakeum's guide for lubing, or like, you know, if you started, you know, more recently, like Nathan's guide for lubing, stuff like that. So, I mean, it's cool that it's all in one place and you don't necessarily have to search for it. I think that's the best thing, is having a centralized location for everything. That's like what we talked about when we had Sleek keyboards on, is like having a centralized location that is easy to grasp and is visually appealing, right? Like that's the biggest thing that's hard on a lot of other sites. Is they're not visually appealing and they're not laid out in a way that makes sense. Whereas this is, it has a natural progression with these courses that are already listed. I'm interested. I'm interested to know how they got the .university. I don't know if you can just buy those. I guess you can. I guess it's .edu is the one that you like actually have to have a license, like a legitimate license for. But
who knows?
I think it would have been cooler if it was just like keeb.uni. That would have been sweet.
URL, yeah, there it is. Yeah, URL available. We'll start with we'll start with what we like, because other than, you can say, oh well, look, I just typed in sleek keyboards into my browser and not keyboard.university. So obviously, the layout's fantastic. It goes through with like the intro, it does a very good job explaining like each part and each section and why you should care about the parts. That's one thing that can be tough, is like, well, why do I care about the keycaps? Why are things the way they are? What all do I need? It's another huge one. We talked about Cyrus and I used to work at a guitar shop, and we always talked about the idea of like, when you buy something, from where they're playing guitar to the power outlet in the wall, you need to make sure they have everything. Because the worst thing in the world is they open it up on Christmas Day and then they don't have the power cable. And so now you can't use it. So it's like, oh, I got mail day. I'm so excited to build this keyboard. I don't have stabilizers.
Yeah. Or it's like the little things like where it talks about layouts and stuff, right? Like knowing that if you're going to buy like a tofu, like a HHKB tofu, or even the Win-keyless tofu, you need to buy something that has, like, you need to buy a key set that has a 7U spacebar and a split backspace
and
support.
a 7U stabilizer.
Yeah, and a 7U stabilizer. Because how many people get that where there's like, oh, there's not, this doesn't have that exact key layout, especially on those lesser expensive keycap sets. So I know that there's not as much of that information specifically in here. I'm sure they'll add stuff like that, but
but yeah, making sure that they're covering a lot of info. It's not too wordy. I mean, it's a lot of info, but if you're going to spend a lot of money on something, I highly recommend reading everything you can before, if you're going to drop $300 on something, I would recommend like actually doing a lot of research to going in. I think the best part, and this is something that I think really needed a lot of attention in the community, and I think the best tab that they have is the layouts. They do a very good job explaining what each section of a full-size keyboard is and like where that gets reallocated. And they do a good job showing each layout and kind of just giving a couple like, hey, here's this is how it's different. There are a lot of people, whenever I say, well, okay, what do you want? Like, I need a numpad. I'm like, okay, well, that's limited our options, but like, are you comfortable with a 60%? Well, what's a 60%? I can just send them to this page and go, look at the pictures, read the descriptions. This is exactly how it's all going to work. And you don't have to worry. I don't have to sit here and trying to explain to you, well, on a keyboard, like the F fret, well, that's just gone.
Yeah.
And on that gone. Like it's a lot easier. Most people are going to be able to visualize this a lot better if they can see it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it does a great job of that. And even with like showing pictures, like when you have them all together, it also it makes that click in your brain a little bit too. If you don't know what a 75% or a 65 is, you look at it and you're like, oh, okay, so that's how it differs. It's got this extra row here. It definitely is nice. That is one of my favorite things on all of the courses that are up, is the layouts. I also like that most of them, they try to put a picture that shows what they're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Because the biggest thing with something like this, right, is that we live in a time where people don't want to read things anymore. They just want to look at they just want to look at a picture or read a headline.
Look at the pretty pictures.
Yeah, it's like how many times have people just, they post something based off of a headline alone without reading the article, and they realize once they actually are told, hey, this is not what actually is happening. So I like how it actually shows a photo example of what they're talking about in most areas.
Mm-hmm. And I like how they're also kind of bouncing back and forth, showing differences, because it can get a little tricky with 60, 65, and 75 trying to explain to people the differences there. And they do a good job kind of balancing, like, hey, it's this without this, or it's this with this. So I do genuinely feel bad for anyone new trying to explain 75% to people. It's like, hey, it's got this many keys. What about this one? Oh, that's also a 75%, but it just has less keys. Oh, what about this one? Oh, it's also a 75%, but it just has more keys than normal. So it's 75% I feel are just like that's just like the English language of trying to explain to someone what a 75% layout is. But moving through, they do a fantastic job going through keycaps.
I mean, except for the
explain.
fact that essay is listed, but it's not written out.
Yeah.
But
Work in progress.
yeah, small oversights.
But so it happened. There's always room for improvement. But they do a good job kind of explaining the differences between some people might not know the difference between double shot versus a dice up. Or some people might not understand the difference between SA and DSA. I've seen the picture where it shows the profiles. I've seen the picture 100 times, and I will still like I if someone showed me that without any names, I probably only get like 3 of them.
Yeah, I think there are definitely some that like need a little bit of work in terms of their just like overall what is listed, but I think right now it's a great starting point for what they're doing and what they're trying to get across.
Mm-hmm. So but yeah, if you're someone that is kind of in this community and someone's asking you, hey, like if they're interested and maybe you don't have the time, or maybe you're bad at explaining things, I would highly recommend this website, just because there's a lot of good that can come from it. Oh, Camel Sucks, how's it going, man? There's a lot of great things that can come from the website. I think Osiris and I talked about this beforehand. There is some stuff that needs to be potentially reworked, or just kind of changed up a little bit. Like I said, this site's been up for not even 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And this is a daunting task. I mean, we've talked about doing videos and stuff, and I go back and listen. I'm like, I can't believe I didn't say something like that. Like, I can't believe I didn't insert X right here. So it's very hard to get everything correct, but as a community, we can help. So I mean, I think the only thing that I thought really, the biggest thing I thought was missing was there are a lot more switches than MX switches. There are Alp switches, there are Toper switches, there are buckling spring if you want to go that far into the hobby and just stab your wallet with a knife. So I think there's some room for like a little extra, because then when you start talking about, oh well, if you talk to a lot of people, they'll say, oh well, Alps browns are the best, or Alps this are the best, or Alps whites, or Alps they're all the best. And it's like,
Right.
well, I don't even know what an Alps is. There's nothing really on there about it. I'm obviously MX style switches are going to be the best, or not best, but the most popular. But overall, and then I feel like it could use some pictures of the sliders, because I didn't really, until I a lot of the first switches I ever used were box switches, and so I had no idea what's happening with the switch. And it wasn't until I saw like true Cherry and Mech stems where it's like, oh, there's an actual bump on the slider versus a linear. So that's where you get that feeling from. So, excuse me, I just downed like 2 Cokes earlier today and a bunch of tomato sauce pasta. So
Yeah, no, I think there's one, box switches aren't mentioned at all, which is an important like change from a regular MX switch. I think it's important to denote how they are different and why you may prefer a box switch. Like a lot of people forget about the fact that, the box switch is like quote unquote dust proof comparatively to a regular MX switch, which is not. Also, the denotion of click bar versus the click jacket, I think, is important. And if you start talking about Alps, that's completely different as well. I think that could be an important thing to show people. I think obviously the modifying switches portion could be expanded a significant portion. And I think that may be something that they do later as they kind of get more into it. I think, yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot, especially on the Switch page, that could be done.
Well, I think, and honestly, I think like messing with switches and altering switches, that could be its own.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think that could be another level.
And they've said like we're going to release more classes. This is obviously modifying switches. I think that's its own monster. But they wanted to touch on it, which is important to, if you're trying to get something up, yeah, absolutely touch on it. And then these are, I don't know. I've only spoken with the TKC guys a little bit, but if I know anything about college, they said level 100 course. So I imagine there's going to be level 200 courses, level 300 courses where it's like, oh, okay, well, let's take an even deeper dive into lubing. Let's take an even deeper dive into modifying switches. Because, there's modifying switches where you just, mix and match different parts and hope something great happens. And then there's stuff like, I know Minterly literally changes the click bar. There are people that swap leaves in the housing, like stuff that is crazy that I would never even want to do. So, that's why I like how they're starting off with like, oh, it's 100 classes. And then, in a month or so, they can go, hey, we released all our 200 classes now. So now you're going to understand about that. And so, there is something to say about if someone was like, hey, I want to learn about keyboards, I probably wouldn't bring up Alps.
Yeah. Well, I think I don't know, if you're going to do a generalized switches thing, you have to mention I don't know if you have to mention Topra.
Yeah, because that's the HHKBs are very popular on Amazon.
Yeah, you can get away with not talking about Alps, because then you can bring up you can do a 200 level or even later than that of like vintage switches and talk about Alps, foam and foil, the tons of different types in the history. If you want to learn about them, there's the Kairosen 22 or whatever on YouTube. Insane voice, dude's crazy about old switches. But I think you could do a vintage like switch.
Some electives. There you go.
Yeah, some electives. But I think you have to mention Topra at the beginning, especially because of how popular it is.
And how easy it is to get a completed build.
Yeah. And I think they do talk a little bit, like they mention Topra, but they don't have like a designation of like even if on the switch parts, if they just showed also a Topra exploded view as well. And then maybe like how you would make a normal Topra that's not MX compatible into MX compatible. Because that could be really important for someone who's just starting out. That's like, oh, I can buy this board that's like really highly regarded in the community, and I can buy it on Amazon, and it's $200. Come on, like you gotta show some support for that. I mean, a lot of people love their Topra boards.
Yeah, and I know people are diehard about Topra, so that was one thing that I was. While I'm personally okay with not having to read anything about Topra, I didn't have to waste my life reading about Topra today. Some people might like that, but but yeah, and then Kale switches. The box switch is very different from MX. So it's just something that something to look into, for those who are listening, that if you have any part in getting this website together, that would be one thing that I think, because switches is kind of the big part, right? Like we all like caps because they look pretty, and we like boards because they look pretty, and some things can be innovative about them, but switches are switches are going to be kind of the main part of what you're doing.
I also find it extremely interesting that they don't try to designate it at all. Like it's all marked as intro to mechanical keyboards. And then like, what is a mechanical keyboard and stuff like that. It's very basic. They try to like lower it. They don't talk about custom mechanical keyboards, which is, they don't call it custom until fairly later, which is interesting. I think that's most people would call this, cause you're, not your regular ducky, your ducky need one too many that everyone and their mother has. That's still just as much a mechanical keyboard as your, key cult number 2 is, or your Satisfaction 75, which just took down the key cult number 2. Rip. But
hell yeah.
But those are it's just as much of a mechanical keyboard as the other. So it's interesting that they don't designate it. Not that they have to, but I did find that interesting.
At the end of the day, it's your website. Fuck it, do what you want.
And I do really agree with Willio about having a Geek Hack 101, Reddit 101 class. I think it would be good to have kind of like a little bit of the unwritten rules for some of those sites. Like if you had a place where you could find, okay, these are the rules for posting on Geek Hack, for posting an interest check, or Reddit for posting something on Mech Market.
Or just a guide on how to fucking go through Geek Hack.
Yeah. Well, does anyone really know how to do that? Like, you search for something and it doesn't show up and you're like, what the hell? So I know this exists.
The one thing that I want to see, because I get asked this a lot. I get asked this all the time about different things. So these are my notes. I took notes on this today to make it feel like I was working, because I haven't been working. First one I wrote, dictionary.
Yeah,
that is important. I think a dictionary, glossary, you can even do glossary or required reading if we're going with the college theme. I get asked all the time, what does WKL mean? What is ALPS? What does PCB stand for? What is 60%? What is, when you say, oh, it's a WKL TKL. And they're like, okay, that's 6 letters. And I have no fucking clue what that means. I'm like, yeah, it's a win kilo 60. I'm like, okay, what does that mean? And I'm like, okay, yeah. So acronym bank would be great. I mean, there's 900 switches that have different names, and then some idiot goes and crams 3 switches together and names it a fucking stupid name like Zyko.
True.
Who knows? And that's a guide to like, oh, why is it called a holy? Because it's holy and panda, and there it is. So that's, I would love to see suggested reading or whatever, just some sort of dictionary or word bank that I can go here, because I would love to be able to like look at that. Whenever I started, I had no idea what half the letters meant this hot.
Well, and because what you'll have there, if you do a glossary or something like that, if you like say it's the holy panda, right? And then you explain what a holy panda is, and then you make the term holy panda a link to the Switch 101, right?
Yep.
And they just go back, and then now they're learning about switches. So it's like it can all come back to each other. And then I did want to touch on something that Camel Sucks said about the like Geek Hack and Reddit run ones. No, not that. I mean, that's what the sidebar is for on Reddit. Right, it is. And there are how to use Geek Hack things on Geek Hack. The problem is having everything that's needed all in one place. So that's what this is trying to do, is trying to be the one-stop shop of this is what you need to get into this community. Mech Market our mechanical keyboards, geek hack, giant things in this community. Can't really be in this community fully, I feel, without making it, without being a part of those and understanding how those work. So I think that's very important to be ingrained into this as well.
Mm-hmm. Plus, this is like complete side note. Sidebar does not appear on mobile.
Also true.
So, and if you're someone like me who's primarily more on Reddit on their phone, you might run into the issue of, oh, okay, well, I have no idea what to post or what to comment or whatever. Other things I'd like to see, Mech Market. That's a huge one. I think there could be a whole class on Mech Market, because as we are in a group buy community that get whatever we want when we you sometimes have to scour through Mech Market. I would consider Mech Market more of a 201 class, because that's not really the first thing. Or if someone's just getting into it, I would recommend, like, hey, find somebody to help you with it, because one, you might not even be able to buy anything, because if you're like, hey, never bought anything on Mech Market, some people might not even sell to you. Or that was a daunting task. I remember when Osiris was like, yeah, you can just hop on Mech Market. I looked and I was like, what the
Yeah, Mech Market is an interesting. Yeah, it's an interesting one in itself.
It's its own beast.
Yeah. Well, because it's like it has trends. I think there's a lot of people that maybe don't, especially when they're first starting, don't understand, the common courtesies of Mech Market and how it works. And like, it's not first come, first serve more often than not. Like, if they don't know you and someone that they know, it's the same price, probably going to go with the person they know. Like, yeah, it's
tough.
Yeah, it's hard out there. It is a jungle, as Camel Sucks says.
Above all,
I did want to touch on a few things that are like just somewhat inherently wrong on the website. One, the essay not being featured, or not being listed on the picture, but not being featured on the information, as well as not having Drop being the manufacturer for MT3 and PMK, Pet My Keyboard, or Signature Plastics being listed at all under DSA or SA, which they do those things.
Quick fixes. I think that's what we could name this section of our
quick fixes.
Quick fixes, because there are some things that I think sometimes. I mean, I make mistakes all the time.
For sure.
You watch our streams. You'll listen to me long enough, and you'll be like, dude, you have no what you're talking. The only real thing I found that was like my nitpicky is an Alice board. It's not technically a split board. It's an ergo.
Yeah. What's funny is that it's sitting next to what would be considered a split board.
Yep. So, just thoughts. Mainly, I only say that because I'm friends with people. One of my very close friends is a diehard Split fan, and he corrects me every time I say Alice is split. He's like, yeah, it's split ergo. And he's like, it's not split, it's just ergo. It's like, all right.
Well, that is an important.
Yeah, and it's because ergo is ergo, short for ergonomic. Boom, there's another one for your suggested reading. But that was literally my only like nitpick of like,
yeah. Well, because
you can literally just take those pictures, add it to ergo,
yeah,
and then change the picture for split.
A split ergo would be something like in the ergo docs.
Yeah,
like something that's actually split and is ergo. Like if ergo has been around for a long time, and a lot of them look a lot funkier than the Alice,
like those space bars.
Yeah, where
Remember
it's
those?
like the giant.
It's like a C.
It's yeah, it's like a C, and then the end is like that thick.
Yeah. For your thumbs. And you hit it, it just like wobbles.
Yeah. But I think that's about it as far as like things that were like, man, I can't
And
believe.
I don't want to make it seem like we're like shitting on this website, because this website is awesome. It's laid out very professionally. It's done with the community in mind, and you can tell that like right off the bat. If you're in this community for long enough and you have a good understanding, it like basically if you're someone who's in this community that goes, I don't really need this, you can at least appreciate that it's like, this would have been nice when I had.
Yeah.
And I think that's what they were going for, and I think they fucking nailed it.
Yeah, because I think there's going to be a lot of people who are like, what the hell is this? I don't need this. This doesn't make any sense. This is not worth it. And it's like, okay, dude, you got to think about for the new people, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, there is some stuff missing, and I think that's why, like what we said initially, want this to be living. Like it needs to be living. This doesn't get updated and it just exists as this, then it's gonna fail.
Mm-hmm.
If it's constantly updating, constantly evolving, constantly adding new courses, and just making new content, then it's going to do a lot more, and it has a higher chance of being more successful and really attributing something fantastic to the community.
Yeah, and where it's at right now, I would still send someone to him and be like, this is a great jump point.
Yeah.
It's got great information. It doesn't have every single bit of information, but
the proof of concept is there.
Yeah, proof of concept is there. And if you're going off of like, what's the most popular thing, they nail everything. Because yeah, cherry profile, MX switches. They talk about the different layouts, and there's no crazy layouts on there that are hard. Like most of those boards, you can find with relative ease. Maybe not right now because we're having issues with shipping and factories and all that stuff, but it's doing a great job. It's doing a great job for getting started.
Right. Well, and think it like Pluto just said this, the spoon feeding will totally help the noobs. It will. Think about how many times in like, say for instance, when something crazy in the community happens, like a couple months ago, we had Nathan build Tfue a keyboard, right? His chat for that stream was flooded with new people asking questions that you're like, oh my gosh, come on. Yeah. Something like this, great to point them to.
Yep.
Because it preaches preference, it preaches like everything that someone would need in order to get started and really kind of understand. Like you can read all of these. They should do section best games. You can read all of these courses and walk away with a great idea of what to do and how to enter this community.
Mm-hmm. I just wish hot was a thing started.
Yeah, dude. That's another thing. It doesn't talk about hot swap, does it? Well, it doesn't really talk about building.
It doesn't go into building. I mean, it mentions PCB, but 201. You got to buy the stuff before you build it, right? You got to find what you spend your money on. So very excited. We will be keeping track of this. I know I'll probably be looking. I know the key.company is going to be updating on anything that is changed to it. Those are some good guys over there, good guys and gals working over there. And Slee Keyboards, I mean, the fact that he has his hand in it just kind of fills me with relief of like, okay, we're not putting up like any bad. Not that I would think TKC has anything, but I've seen what Sleek can do for a guide of like, hey, what's hot, good, where's the information that's going to be. I've seen what he can do, and it's kind of like, okay, it's in good hands.
Yeah.
So,
well, and I think it brings up a interesting point that we were talking about before we started of the fact, like, how do you feel that this is run by a vendor in the community, right? I know Slee has a big hand in it. But how do you feel that it's run by a vendor?
To me personally, it doesn't really bother me that much. We're starting to see more and more people uh kind of starting to pit my keyboards. Just started their like panda face talking thing. I haven't really done the deep dive on that yet. um it can cause potential little issues that you can definitely see where that might rub people the wrong way. But I think the other thing there is they have time. They have their hands in the community. You can't really be a vendor without kind of knowing what's going on. But it does lead to like the potential of like something that I had mentioned before, like 90% of the pictures are things that are offered on the Key Dot Company. Um, that's not a slam. That's just an observation. But you know, it can get hairy quick. But I think they do a good job. Like at no point whenever I was going through this, other than some of the pictures, and that's only because I know
Yeah.
the Key Dot Company. But at no point did I feel like the Key Dot Company was trying to sell me their.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing, right? Like if as long as it continues to be a website for information and not a marketing, like obviously it is a little bit of a marketing thing for the key company. Like it's just that is how the world works, right? But as long as it's not like an outright like, here's a tangerine, pick up tangerine V2s here, and
Click this link and you can buy them right now.
or like, they're offering like on the keycaps page, it's like link to our group buy for this key set, and like as long as it's not stuff like that. I mean, granted, they are doing that for Lunar right now, but I don't know. I mean, you can't.
At that point, I'm like, they put in the work, they can do it.
Well, it's one of those things. It's hard to fault them, right?
Yeah.
Like it's hard to fault like them for trying to do something like this, because every one of us in this community could have done something like this. Like any of us could have done this exact thing, but we didn't, and they did.
Yep.
So they reserve the right to do stuff like that. Mm-hmm. They are not overly about it. Even where it does link to Lunar, it doesn't like, it just says, for example, here are 2 kits from GMK Lunar, and GMK Lunar key set is a link to go purchase it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, okay. It's not like buy GMK Lunar here, arrow to, like, it's not overly aggressive about it. And it's not like the key company is like overly branded on every page. Where it is, it's subtle. I do think you could get into some issues later down the road. Like, I would realistically, as they get higher in the courses, I would love for them to get into more history of keyboards, more history of keycap sets. And that's where I feel like it could run into some issues. If they came in and said, oh, well, we're only going to cover things that maybe we had a hand in.
Yeah.
Or we won't cover certain things because maybe we don't like that person now.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it may be an important part of the history of keyboards.
Yeah.
So that would be the thing.
That can also be true with like anyone.
No, exactly. But for something that's considered to be the end all be all, the one-stop shop.
Yeah.
Like you'd want this to be kind of like, let's put your beef behind and just let people have that information.
That's something where like, I don't like the term one stop. Mechs on Deck is not a one-stop shop for content related to keyboards. We'll happily tell you Thursday, go watch Top Clack. We love those guys. Eric games with
I play with games like every single night,
all the time. Alex Odos is a great guy. Apiary and I chat all the time on Instagram. Like we all are trying to grow this hobby together. It's not this giant competition. But so it's that's where it's like, well, one-stop shop. Like there's here's a peep behind Mechs on Deck. There's a reason we don't cover news, because we don't need to.
Yeah.
Like we might cover things that interest us, or like something that's really, really cool, like some of these new boards that are awesome. But we don't do a news show because it's like, why would we do a news show? Both Osiris and I love Top Club.
Yeah.
Why would we do a news show?
Yeah.
They already do a great job.
But I mean, I don't know. I think that I think Brez brings up a good point too, of like, maybe like if they, for instance, didn't want to talk about DMG and talk about how it took forever and it had to get bought out, and they don't like bring stuff like that up, even though that was their, he said, I think you could get into situations where it's just like, I wish they would have talked about this, you know?
Yeah.
Like for instance, the Zephyr, right?
Mm-hmm.
Round 1, great. Everyone loved it. Fantastic. Super highly regarded board in the community. Round 2, not as great. Didn't go well. Xeno, still not going great. Kind of okay. Like, I think it's important to talk about the history. I think there's going to be a lot of people who really want to see that, especially some of us who've been in the community for a long time. Like to go back and say, you know, you can remember the heyday of when GMK Olivia only sold 350 base kits.
Yep. God, what a day. So, but yeah, all in all, keyboard.university, bookmark it, send it to your friends, try and commit. At the end of the day, if you are trying to get people into the mechanical keyboard hobby by means of doing something that is well done, I mean, even if you're just, it's a link that just flashes lights at you that says go buy a mechanical keyboard, like, you're good in my book, because we're trying to spread the gospel of mechanical keyboards. And it's a well done page that has so much potential to be an amazing, it's a solid one right now, and can't wait to see it.
Yeah, exactly. And there's something to be said about the fact that it does look professional and it looks nice. You know, when you're first starting out, I remember when I first started and I was researching things and I was like Googling stuff and I found stuff on Geek Hack. I was like, what the hell is this? Why does it look like it was designed in 1992? Like this website is as old as I am, but you know, this actually looks nice. And it's whenever someone is like showing serious interest, like at your work or something, you've got your Alice style board and someone's like, what the hell is that? You know, I want to learn about that. You can send them here and they can actually get a better idea than really I think a lot of us can explain. Just
it does a
top.
good job being impartial.
Right.
Like, it doesn't say this is the best. This is, you want to start with this and start with this. Where like I find myself oftentimes when people are like, I'd like to get into the hobby. Okay, well, I think you could handle doing a 60%. Not because it's my favorite, it's because mentally I'm like, well, that's going to be one of the cheapest.
Yeah.
It does a very good job. Like, honestly, it doesn't really talk about money that much, which is probably a good thing. Get people amped up before they find out about that.
Yeah.
Get them wanting it before they realize how expensive it is. But yeah, that was one thing that I
course 400, dealing with your finances.
Saving up for a board. By the way, your caps are half the price of the board. So, you know, it's I'm super excited to see where this goes.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a great resource with a ton of potential. Exactly like, you know, sleekeyboards.com. Fantastic potential. Just got to stay up with it. That's the thing. If it maintains regular maintenance and new content, it will be something that's here to stay and will stick in the minds of the people who are in the community right now. If it's just stays as 101s and never gets updated, it will go away. Because you gotta stay in the minds of the people who are in the community, because that's how you get out there.
Yeah. And the best part about this community is if you do anything wrong, they'll correct you immediately. So, but yeah, what do you guys think about this website? I don't know if you've looked at it. If you haven't gotten a chance to, it's keyboard.university. You just type that in at your search bar. You will find it. Let us know what you think, because, you know, and I don't know if anybody here is new. You guys give us some opinions on someone who maybe have only been in the hobby for a few months. So decided to randomly tune in. Good evening, Mr.
Howdy.
Ben. Mr. Ben Ripstart.
Dude, that's an epic name.
That's a pretty solid name. Someone joined that name.
The stream
love that
audio
name.
is not stuttering. It's just Discord having a panic attack.
Discord like shut down today, like hard.
Yeah,
It kicked
so
everyone. It like completely turned off the Mechs on deck.
yeah, Discord is just basically like struggling from all the people who are all of a sudden working from home. Yes, the website is pretty sweet. It's a great, if you're new, even if you've been in the community for a long time, you just kind of want to learn a little bit more. It's great to kind of refresh yourself on it. Which I'm excited to kind of, look at it a little bit more. I love how things link to certain places.
Mm-hmm. The Reddit section is stupid long. I remember just being like, this is so many things that I did not think were worth even talking about.
Yeah.
So,
well, Reddit's just kind of like its own thing, and really just kind of I feel like Reddit just exists. Like RMK just exists.
Like, I mean, the difference between RMK versus Mech Market versus Geekhack versus like Discord, it's all so different, and everybody is different. Like, I feel like most people are nicest on Discord, but that's just because you can, in real time, get shit talked to. Like, if you start being a dick, someone will immediately call you on it. Where Reddit, maybe you could type something and walk away and feel better about yourself. So, but yeah, it's a yeah, and that's another thing that they could get into. Whereas you have, that would be something on the like throw it on the Reddit and Geekhack, is there's a lot of stuff happening on Discord. That's where a lot of boards wind up happening.
Yeah, I mean, Discord has been fantastic for the community. Especially as this website goes up, talking about like maybe starts bringing in private buys, things like that. It being a vendor may not want to talk about those, but I think that's important because there are a ton that are just Discord buys. Mm-hmm. Where it just exists completely and solely in a Discord.
Yep.
I'll be interested to see how this evolves. I'll be interested to see if there's also video content that goes along with it. I think that could be very valuable as well. Because a lot of people are more apt to sit there and watch like a 5-10 minute video than they are to sit there and read.
Or like go through a stream. Like,
yeah.
We've talked about like, we do our best like during a stream to like show what we're doing. But sometimes, that's not very user friendly when someone's like, oh, I just want to loop. Oh, watch this 3-hour stream. It's like 45 minutes in when he does this part. And it's like, that's not going to help at all.
Yeah.
Information needs to get out there. So dip in and out of the community. I only really join building. I know that's I don't think that's bad.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people that are like that.
There's like, I love whenever I'm like getting the itch to buy a new pair of shoes, I start looking at our sneakers and seeing pictures and seeing what I like and seeing what I don't like. And then you hop out and then you're like, okay, I'm good now. And it's your wallet thanks you.
It's like me for cameras, except for then I don't stop, and then I'm like, I'm gonna buy this.
I can't stop.
I think Chewy and I have a problem.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah,
you're more into cameras than I don't need another expensive.
Dude, I'm already like, man, I kind of want to get something different than my A6000. I'm like, I want to get something nicer. No, I'm always planning for the next step in gear.
Mm-hmm.
That's just like a serial gearist, I guess, in my head. I'm always planning for what's next. Like, if this and this and this happens, then we can get this.
And the only thing I want next, we're going to dip into just some free talking. But yeah, keyboard.university. You do ! capital K, capital U. It's not a link, but it'll at least show you what we talked about. No, my next big thing is I want to actually have a computer over here. So every time something happens, I don't have to be like, oh, I got to fix that. Because that's a big thing. A lot of people got in this hobby because they built PCs.
Right.
You build a PC, you get what you want. You like tinkering, you like putting things together.
Well, gaming is what gets a lot of us into mechanical keyboards. It's what introduces you.
And then someone goes, "Yeah, you need this. What's that? A Ducky, with MX Browns or MX Reds." It's like, "Oh, okay, sweet." And then someone goes, you start using that for a while, and then someone goes, "Hey, you should look cool keyboard." And then you kiss your ass and money goodbye.
Yep.
And then it's like, "Oh, I can customize like everything." Like, and a line that's always stuck with me from one of Anthony's streams is, "If I could customize my mouse, I would." And I'm like, "Yep, I believe it."
Yeah, well, you could get the Final Mouse Ultralight too, where it comes with like shoe foam that you can press onto your mouse and then have it fall off in 6 months.
Welcome to Mechs on Deck, where we shit talk Final Mouse.
Dude, their entire company is a meme. I'll take a free mouse though if they want to sponsor me. Brez brings up an interesting point. There are far too many Discords to be a part of, and the amount of group buys that only post updates in Discord and not on the Geek Hack threads is really annoying. What do you think about that, Chewy? Because
it depends. Usually, so there are too many Discords, but it sucks because it's like, as a content creator, you want your homies, your nomies, if he's here. You want the people that to be able to talk to you. I spend all day long on Discord. It's up on my computer the whole time. I love talking to the people that I've gotten to meet in this hobby who enjoy Mechs on Deck, and I appreciate them and I like talking to them. But have you seen how many content creators there are? Or do you know how many vendors there are? Like all these things. I've got, I'm in a Discord for a group buy that I have to keep track of that, but honestly, I forget about that. Like, so I think a lot of it has to do with, it might be annoying to keep track of all these different group buy ones, but then maybe exercise restraint.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. I think while yes, a lot of people are used to Geek Hack, I think Discord is a better, like, for me at least, I think Discord is a better way to manage like vendors and manage what I'm in, right? Because I get a little red dot every time something happens for, a buy that I'm in, right? Like when say Canon Keys posts an update about a board, like a couple weeks ago they posted about the Savage 65. Oh, they're going to be restocked this month. Okay, cool. Make a mental note. Or like trying to think when the OSA was happening, whenever something big would happen, he'd ping everyone. Whenever the Baka was happening, you'd ping everyone. It's a lot better than like me going, okay, I got to go on my own dime, not something that I do every day, go check Geek Hack, find my thread, then get to the end, see if there's an update. Oh, they put the update in the first, in the first post. Okay, then I got to scroll down, find it. So I don't know. The pings, I think, are what help. A lot of the Discords where you can go and you can put yourself like for the serious in the Project Keyboard one, I could say, okay, I'm here for Sirius, and I get pings for that. I'm here for Kepler, I get pings for that. I'm here for FC65, I get pings for that. Switch Mod does that as well. So I think that really helps. Depends on how you handle your Discord. I'm in a ton of Discords. I've always been in a ton of Discords, so it doesn't matter to me. Like the fact that they released folders saved my life because now I can have one that's like I have Keeb Tent, which is just all the content creators. And then I have sponsors, I have GBs, and then just regular vendors that I'm in. And so I also mute every Discord. So
yeah, I think, and like how I do it, like, obviously not everybody here is a content creator, but I just stick to one, and then I dip my hands in every now and then. Most people that I would ever want to talk to, IMEURU, what's up, man? Most people I would ever want to talk to in a Discord are usually in the Discord that I'm in, or if not, I just reach out to them in PMs. But if I want to ask Dixie a question, but I want to do it publicly, I'll just ping him in the Discord. Like, most people are not going to get super duper triggered. I'm not saying go and ping Dixie right now if you want to ask him a question, but if you like, every single time someone ats me in Discord, I try and respond.
Yeah.
Unless they're just like memeing me for some reason. But yeah, that's, you know, to navigate Discord, it can get very tricky, it can get very difficult. But it really only is difficult. It's as difficult as you make.
Exactly.
So if you want to be in 9 different Discords, prepared to be busy in 9 different Discords. When you're just kind of like, oh, I can kind of, you know, stay in my lane on this one and then dip in and see how things are going in other ones, then do that too.
Yeah, I think some people think that they have to be like overly talkative in every Discord, and it's just like that's not feasibly possible. Especially,
Yeah.
I'm in like 56 Discords now.
Jesus Christ.
It's like sometimes you just can't talk to everyone.
You know, it's tough. Let's get into some mail though.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm excited. So,
You want to go first?
I'll go first because you have the label,
What?
the labels of the stuff.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, I'll go first. Let me switch my camera view. All right, let me move this. Hold on.
Don't forget to unmute it so we can hear your beautiful voice.
All right, I'm here. So first and foremost, very excited. I got a Lurv cap from Prime Caps, the spring one that they did with Tiny.
Ooh.
Very fun. Come on. It's beautiful. It's quite beautiful and lovely, and I'm slipping further and further into the artisan hobby. So yeah. Do you have a UV torch? I do not. Does this UV? No. You just yelled no at me, and I have no idea.
He doesn't want you to slip further into the artisan hobby.
Oh, yeah. It is a hard fall. As you can see. Although, like, literally of the like 8 that I have, 5 are right here. So this one's cool. I'm gonna announce this. I keep looking at looking up like I'm visible right. So this is something I'm very excited about. We've announced this in our Discord. Oof. So this is the Ambassador by CYO Caps in the Mechs on Deck colorway. We have 5 of these going up. I am a you are you. While some of these might be very expensive, these will cost you shipping. We got 5. Whoop. Don't worry, this one's mine. You're not getting time though. So that's my fun little, but yeah. Slowly dipping into the artisan game and slipping harder and harder each day. But yeah, if you guys want to win, I believe I put the giveaway in here. Yep. So you just have to follow us on Twitch, subscribe to us on YouTube and Instagram, fill out that form. What's up, Grindbox? Fill out that form. There, we got 5 of these up for grabs. All you have to do is pay for shipping.
Yep. All right, I'm up.
That will end Friday. Sorry.
All right. So similarly, my only I guess keyboard mail is also a CYO Caps, but I don't have an Ambassador. I actually have what is my favorite CYO cap, and that is the Yeti Owl. So unfortunately, this will not be available. It's not part of the raffle. This is a one of one, but man, is it beautiful! It looks freaking awesome. So very stoked to be using that. And then Chewy didn't show off his, but I'll show off my blank as well.
Oh, mine's back there.
It's called Yeti Owl, Grindbox. And then little blank, which is nice.
Matches 9s are really close.
I was about to say, I think it might actually be, it looks like it's almost like a cap from 9s. It might be the same color. But yeah, very close. So, very excited about the fact that we got these. I had been wanting a Yeti Owl for a long time. So, excited.
Slipping.
Slipping.
They caught me slipping.
I want I want some bad lucks. That's like the only one that I'm like, man, I really want some bad lucks.
Well, it's like I was talking about this the other day. With 60%, it's harder to want to put a novelty on. But once you start branching into like 65%, you have the extra row, 75%, there's more keys. TKLs are kind of perfect for it. But the most perfect is the Alice, because there's three caps that are just by themselves that you can map to whatever you want. And it's like, that's literally perfect. I'm actually going to swap mine out right now. But that's where it's like, okay, well, I'm starting, I know a lot of, being in this hobby, we've gotten a chance to talk with a lot of artisan makers now as well. And gaining way more of an appreciation for their work than I did before.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's one of those things, like, I feel like when we first started, we were like, A, we don't really understand it. And B, we were like, hey, this is really expensive. Let's not do it. But now we're kind of going down it. But yeah. Next up, we have, so can't remember. I talked to him a lot on
Alex BT.
I was like, I can't remember. I know it's Alex, but
shout
I didn't
out.
know.
Huge shout out.
Dude.
To Alex.
Big shout out. Oh, it's Zero Cool. Okay. Dude, big shout outs.
Lots of names.
So these are all like open, but send us a whole bunch of like Canadian snacks. Whole bunch of. So now we are going to be full on. Okay, Alex BT. Sorry for all the ruffling. But yeah. So you got tons of stuff to try. So Chewy did yoink some and then gave me the rest. So big shout outs to him. Oh, also Crush Cream Soda.
Crush Cream Soda Crush, which I love. Soda.
I'm going to go back to the same size you and I, so it's not just me.
If you guys ever want to send us stuff to eat, by all means, just don't poison it.
Yeah,
preferably wrapped things.
We will take free food. Just make sure it's like sealed when we get it, so then we know you're not poisoning us. Please don't poison us. What do you want to try first, Chewy?
Man, I don't know. Let's start with salty. Let's end with. Well, okay, no. First.
Oh.
Gotta have for safety. Ooh. Ooh. All right. Cheers.
Bottoms up.
Ooh. It's got a really sweet aftertaste. Cheers. Cheers. Guys, grab your crush drinks and enjoy this flavor town as we pretend to know what we're talking about when we're snack food. This is actually really good. I enjoy it. It tastes like cream soda, and then there's like this kind of sweet aftertaste too. I love it. Yes, I am eating all this shit over my keyboard too.
Oh, yeah, I moved my Sirius back. It's messing with my head that it's Crush and it's not flavored like
orange.
No, not just orange, but like any fruit. Because I've had a wild variety of Crush. I've had Crush pineapple. I think I've had Crush mango. There was a point where at my work, our chef decided he wanted to order every type of Crush there was, but I've never had cream. So
yes, it's not very popular down here. We have one more cheers. So let's start with.
Hey, we want one more cheers in chat. Thank you for the 100 bits.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you very much to Mr. Zero Cool for providing us. I've been looking for this too because I got the box like Friday afternoon. Shit, I'm gonna have to sit here and just like I just had to put it in a drawer.
I'm not gonna lie, I almost drank this crush yesterday. I was like, ooh. And then I was like, restraint, self-restraint.
So whenever I was dealing, so I put them in little baggies for me.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, the ketchup ones, because those are the ones that I'm most curious about.
Is that what's next?
Let's do the Old Hickory.
Old Hickory.
Old Hickory. But the ketchup, I was like dusting them into a bag, and I was like, I wanted to lick my fingers just for a quick taste.
So Chewy opened this one upside down. So this is Julian's.
It popped. To be fair, it popped.
Old Hickory. It's in French. It's French.
Oh.
It's like potato strips.
I'm not crewing yet. Okay, I'm chewing now. Just barbecue potato chips, but they're in strips, so it's crunchier.
I've had potato sticks before. This is about on par. Pretty good. Got a little bit more flavor. Ooh. There's like a little bit of like bacon at the end.
Like a smokiness to it. Welcome to Mechs on Deck.
Yeah, welcome to Mechs on Deck. Enjoy our ASMR eating stream.
These are probably going to be the first ones gone.
That is why they are called hickory sticks. Thank you, Gooba Fish.
Hey, we don't know too much about. Man, I like Funyuns. That's my favorite chip.
I do
Munchies
approve.
On deck. Grindbox, thank you.
I approve.
New show coming soon. I approve. Yeah, definitely approve. Solid.
What's next? Do you want to do ketchup? Because I know I like all season.
Okay, let's do ketchup. I hate ketchup normally, so I'm curious now if I'll like
These smell like someone poured a bottle of ketchup into a bag of Lay's.
Nope. Oh God, no.
Lay's ketchup.
You fucking are terrible. Oh, dude, fuck that. That's disgusting.
It's not that bad, but it's not something that I would purchase. Let me go in for another.
Oh my God.
It's also like disturbingly like colored. Like it looks like I got a nosebleed on a Lay's potato chip.
It looks like someone chopped up a radish. Oh, ketchup chips are good. I don't like ketchup already, so it just feels like someone's like just rubbing ketchup right on my tongue.
Too much vinegar.
Yep.
I'll stick to my like lime. Lay's lime are good.
Hostess ketchup chips. All right, grind. You'll have to hook us up. I've never had all dressed chips. And
You've never had all dressed? They're so good. Dressed.
Way better.
You can't eat a ton of them though. At least I can't. So like a small bag of all dressed.
Mm-hmm. Good.
Nice.
I can definitely see this with a sandwich being like solid.
Oh yeah,
Sunday,
dude.
Sunday lunch.
This was like when I was touring. We stop at a gas station in Canada. Get myself a bag of all dressed chips.
I'm sure you could order most of this stuff, but like, I feel weird ordering chips online. I feel like you have a problem if you're like, I have to order these snacks online. Or if you do it like frequently. But maybe you do. I don't know. All right. Let's get into every Walmart. Jeff, I don't know where you live. You don't have to dox yourself by any means, but that's pretty dope.
I mean,
I would get addicted to those very fast.
I will say I'm pleasantly surprised by the hickory.
The old hickories?
Old hickories, dude. Those were the hickory sticks were bangers.
They're bangers, man.
He's near Chicago, that Chi-town.
I said we go for the Kit Kat because we already have Kit Kats, but this is 100% sustainably sourced cocoa Kit Kats.
Sustainably. What does that mean?
I don't know. Chocolate that was not made by
The chocolate doesn't have blood on it?
Paid enough. Yeah, pretty much.
Ooh, boy, howdy.
Boy, howdy.
Chexer, thank you for the follow. We got some new sounds. So, like, thank you. Shout outs to Langlandia. We yoinked the ones that we use for Mech Madness on Fridays for some of our alerts. So, followers, boy, howdy. And then count it is bits and donations.
I am curious to know how my wife will like these because one of her favorite candy bars is Kit Kats.
Kit Kats in the state are made by Hershey, not Nestle, so the recipe is a little bit different.
Ah,
Interesting.
oh, that's creamier.
Less oil. I can tell by literally just like putting my mouth on it.
That's better. Respect. Damn. Okay, the song that's in my head right now is just yelling, I would like to be anywhere but here, which is ironic because I would like to eat all the food that I can't have. God, that was really good. I'm excited to give my wife these.
Interesting.
That's what she said. I had a Kit Kat today with no wafer, and it was severe. Man, that happened to me with it was just a block of chocolate. Like one of them was okay, but that was the first one I ate, and then the second one I ate was the one that was terrible. I was like, this is bullshit. I would have, if I knew this, I would have at least eaten the bad one first. Like, I know I'm not the only one that when you get like a 12-inch sub and they cut it horrendously off-centered, you always eat the small one first. So you feel like you're enjoying it long. All right, what are we doing next? Chat, what should we do next? We have Wonder Bar, Coffee Crisp, and Mr. Big.
Mr. Big.
Mr. Big.
So I find it interesting that I've never heard of Wonder Bar or Mr. Big and Cadbury Schweppes, which was, I think they're just Cadbury now, but it was Cadbury Schweppes was literally based like 10 minutes away from where I grew up, where we grew up, because we grew up like 10 minutes, like 5 minutes away from each other. And then they bought Dr. Pepper, and then they didn't exist after that. They split.
Try the Wonder Bar.
Wonder Bar? Also,
So
thank you
this
for not
looks like
sending
a-
things that had almonds, pecans, or walnuts in them. I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's because I'm your boy. He asked me, he was like, what do you guys like and not like? And I was like, I can't dark chocolate, and he does.
Yeah, no nuts. I like peanuts, though, and that's what's in this. Mine was broken in half, so I'm showing the middle.
Snapped.
It's a preference, Grind. That was not what I was expecting.
That was good. I feel like I'm going to eat I feel like I'm going to eat, what's it called? A Butterfinger.
Almonds?
Almonds? I say almonds, but I'm just pretending to say almonds.
What about pecans? Pecans? Can I give me some pecan pie? I like this. It was not what I was expecting it to be harder when I bit into it. I feel like
I was expecting it to taste like a Butterfinger based on
you know that would be good like in the refrigerator.
Yeah, I think a lot of these would be better refrigerated, but these also have been sitting in a drawer. Let's do Mr. Big. Chewart Little eats a Mr.
Dude, Chewart Little, the new
Chewart Little. I want someone to make Osiris as porn stash sitting at a table looking down at Chewart Little.
That would be great.
If somebody is great with Photoshop, please make that happen. And that will be the banner for the next 6 months.
That would be great. So this one's interesting.
Original.
So what's in this?
It looks like peanuts.
Sugar, glucose, modified. What have modified things?
The first thing that said that was in it was sugar.
That's what it looks like on the inside, which is interesting.
That's good. You don't like it?
Not that I don't like it. It's okay. I'd rather have the Wonder Bar.
I'd rather have the Mr. Big.
Well, that's why we fit together so well, right?
Exactly.
It's like a. It's like a. What's the wafer?
Nutter Butter Bar?
No, the wafer chocolate bar. America.
I have no.
It's like if you had a Nestle Crunch bar and you just like put all the crunch and put it together and then wrapped it in chocolate and caramel. Not for me. What's
Coffee
the wafer
Crisp.
bar in America? Yeah, of course, it's Kit Kat. My brain is
Coffee
smooth.
Crisp.
Thank you, Killer Crossovers.
This has the same stuff as Kit Kat, so the chocolate's going to be the exact same. So I know I'm already going. All right, Coffee Crisp. This is the one I was most excited about.
This one's going to be good.
Package. Cheers. Thank you. Zero.
Yeah, thanks
cool.
again, Zero Cool.
Way crunchier than I anticipated.
Yeah, but fucking
was-
good, dude.
It's fucking good, but the crunchiness level, like, kind of took me by surprise. Now that I know it's coming, it's going to be way better.
Do they make this in dark chocolate? Zero Cool or Canadian peeps in the chat. Do they make this in dark chocolate? Because I feel like that'd be way better. At least for me. Chewy would die, but
Isn't that Godiva sitting there suffocating?
but I feel like this would pair very well with a nice coffee beverage of some sort.
That and a cold brew.
Cold brew. If it's cold outside, maybe a nice espresso. Maybe a latte, if that is your. Huh? Who drinks espressos?
Who the fuck drinks espressos?
Me.
It does. Janky Render says it can confirm. We got to find you a dark chocolate coffee crisp. The garbage of Halloween candy. Interesting. Well, different strokes, different folks. If you guys have any questions for us, please ask now. Go ahead and throw them in the chat. I'll answer them. I'm going to go through sponsors real quick. Excuse me. Dixie Mech.
What?
You can go to mechsondeck.dixiemech.com, pick up GMK Botanical. That will be running through the end of this month as well. Make sure you're voting for Mech Madness. That's going to be, we're in the thick of it now.
Yeah, dude.
Excuse me. So be sure to check those out. Zap Cables makes the best cables in the business. He also has awesome desk mats, some really cool stickers, and other accoutrements to create your desk space and make that look very customized and to your liking. Next up, switchmod.net/mechsondeck for 4% off all your lube, springs, caps, and all of that stuff. And all that definitely helps. All these links help the channel. So thank you very much. You want to tackle the other three?
I mean, I was about to eat a Wonder Bar for sure.
Oh,
all right.
I got it.
I got the last three. All right. You can eat the Wonder Bar. All right. Next up, Project Keyboard. Pick up GMK Ashes at mechsondeck.project.link. Running all month. Doing really well. So check that out. Next up, you got Canon Keys. CanonKeys.com/mechsondeck. Pick up GMK Honey or Cat Atlantis. Also, they have partnered with Rensuya, which he just announced his interest check for GMK Red Dragon, which is the third installment of the Avatar.
There it is.
Avatar themed key sets. Looks a little bit different than Mizu and Terra, but still pretty freaking cool looking set. So definitely want to check that out. That'll be running on Canon keys at some point in the future. And then last but not least, Type Beast, sign up for their newsletter. Got some pretty cool stuff going out. Gives you some information, keeps you up to date on what's happening. Again, as Chewy said, all those links, when you use them, it does help us out, helps us keep doing things, doing cooler things, keeping this thing alive. So we're almost at a year.
Yeah, almost there. I want to thank the people that stayed, by the way, because you guys are the realest. Because we totally just for like 30 minutes ate a bunch of food with nothing to do with keyboards. It means a lot to us.
It really does.
You guys are the realest. Thank you. So tomorrow, unfortunately, due to some shipping struggles, the world's kind of having a rough time right now, as we all know. And some things were not able to get here in time for the build that I had planned tomorrow. So I'll just be doing some. I've got a lot of stuff I need to take care of for future builds. So I was just like, oh, I'll just use this time to lube some switches. So you can come join me, lube some switches. We can talk. We can talk about snacks, American snacks, if you want to, the boring snacks, or whatever. But I'll be leaving tomorrow 8 p.m. Wednesday, we got Brandon Taylor, who will be joining us. He is a tech reviewer, a PC peripheral reviewer, and streamer as well. We have him coming on, talk about keyboards and just overall tech stuff. I'm excited to get some good trade-offs on, because he does a lot of, has way more experience than either of us have in like box brand boards. So interested to see kind of how that plays against custom mechanical keyboards. And then Friday, episode 4, Mech Madness. It's going to be a spicy week. Spicy week.
Top 8. Revealing top 4. Let's go, baby.
Let's fucking go. All right, let's see. We got someone. Let me know where Apiary is in her game.
Is she actually building, or is she almost done? Let's see. She's soldering, so that's a good moment to throw her that fat raid. Again, we do appreciate everyone coming and hanging out, all the follows, the subs, the biddies.
Again, thank you to Zero Cool.
Yeah, dude.
Cheers to you, Mr. Zero Cool. Thank you guys.
Cool
Mr. To Slee Keyboards for helping me out today with keyboard.university. Go check out keyboard.university. Let them know what they think. Let us know what you think. Be sure to check all that stuff out. And we will see you tomorrow. I will see you tomorrow. We've got another. If you didn't notice, we had a build video or a typing test video go up today. We have a coming out tomorrow.
Whole bunch of them mofos.
Lots of them. So thank you guys very, very much. And y'all have a lovely evening. Bye, Switch Tester.
Bye now.